Hello, good evening, good evening. It's been a long little break for ourselves. My name is Adnan Pasha from LPA Properties. And yes, he's the man of the moment, Mr. Lakhi Singh. How are you, Lucky?
I am very well. Happy New Year. Happy 2021 viewers. We are back now on the weekends talking to you live about property sales.
And property fixing, Lucky. You are the fixer indeed.
Well, I think we've got a lot of questions for you. I understand that we're launching very soon with the LPA Properties, a brand new platform. So tell us a little bit more about that before we get started.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as we're concerned right now, we are still in the trial stages right now. I mean, over the course of this whole 2 weeks of the Christmas lockdown, so to speak, for ourselves, I've been communicating with the guys obviously in abroad or with our IT team, trying to get that all established. So we're not too far away. I'm not going to give too much away right now, but we are close from what I've heard. What I've heard, we're close. So once that's good live, we should be all singing and dancing soon.
Fantastic. Checking the foot there, isn't it?
Indeed, indeed. But yeah, lucky God. I mean, look, 2020 was, let's say, a year where a lot of us, well, a lot of people were doom and gloom mongering, let's say, in 2020. We weren't sure where we were headed. And now, obviously, with the vaccine coming on, that was positive news. Then there's a big COVID-19 new strands come out in London, which is terrorizing the whole UK now, apparently. Are we glad to see the back of 2020 now and onwards and forwards to 2021, in your opinion?
Um, yes, I think everybody's probably glad to move on to the new year. Um, but I think there's quite a lot still to do to clear up the overspill of the Brexit deal, the this new enhanced virus apparently, and also there's also now news that there may be a further national lockdown from the PM. Mind you, there's a lot of fake news out there as well, so I'm not sure quite what to believe.
Yeah.
So quite a lot going on. But so tell us, what's today's topic?
So today's topic, Lucky, is why is 2021 going to be the best year to buy a property in? So
Okay.
if you can give us, let's say, your sort of five headliners.
Okay. So what are the? We can go into a bit more detail about what are the five key reasons why 2021 is one of the best years ever to buy. I think number one is that there's a state of flux and there's lots of changes. So if you understand if we can predict what changes are going to be around the corner,
Mhm.
then somewhat you can then have a better strategy in place to be able to buying properties in the right place, in the right mode, with the right finance. So that's point one, just having the right strategy. Point two is because of the pandemic, there's a lot more people are scared of being in enclosed environments in town. They rather be out, especially if they've got money to buy uh, the same money for three to 10 million. Plus, they can buy a mansion with massive gardens where there's a low risk of disease.
Yeah.
So there's that sort of underlying trend. Thirdly, the whole financial markets are a bit of meltdown. So it's not easy to get finance, buy-to-let finance or residential mortgages quite in the same way because of the reluctance of the surveyors, the reluctance of the banks. So if you've got private equity where you can raise money quite easily because you're in the city, then
Yeah.
you've got and if you've got access to finance and other people haven't, then you can actually outmaneuver a lot of other buyers in this market. So those are just three things that I can think of. But I'm sure there's another few that will come out of our conversation.
But yeah, going back to your first point. So what are these changes that are taking place now? Hello? I think it's locked off.
No, I'm just
I think
still here. Just had to
okay.
quickly get a tissue and blow my nose.
Okay. So going back to your first point, what are these changes that are taking place now that are going to be affecting how we buy properties in 2021?
So I think the major changes are that you've got the Brexit deal as well. Number four,
Oh yeah,
with
yeah,
the Brexit deal, and there will be overspill in terms of how that's going to affect a lot of companies and organizations that deal with Europe.
mhm,
That means that a lot of them will need to get liquidity or may need to sell assets to get liquidity to deal with the change. So you may find there's a more of a access to more assets coming onto the market.
mhm.
Um, then number five, if there is another lockdown till April, May time, that undoubtedly is going to affect the commercial real estate market. So there's going to be a lot more cheap commercial real estate flooding onto the market. So
Right.
that's the five things I mentioned without necessarily going into the details as such.
Yeah.
Are actually quite significant in what you could be doing.
Bless you. But I mean, like you just spoke about before about strategies that one should be looking at. Would you think it's probably wise to open up a company overseas, offshore, if that makes sense, in order to purchase property in the UK? Or is that now with Brexit, it's not a viable sort of choice or option
So, are you saying to buy property abroad or here? Did you say?
in the UK? So let's say, for example, a lot of people used to go and get companies from offshore and have offshore accounts in order to buy property here to save on taxation. But is that still going to be a viable case now with Brexit going on? And
Yeah, I don't think trust structures or setting up companies abroad is necessarily going to be majorly impacted because I think there's not much of a link between Brexit and how you structure your tax affairs, to be honest. I
yeah,
might be wrong because I'm not actually a tax expert, but
mm,
I'd probably say that a lot of people are going to be, uh, you know, I think that the way it may get impacted is that uh, if you bought foreign property in Europe,
yeah,
um, you might find it more difficult in terms of travel or maybe holdings and what the laws might be if you're holding assets abroad in Italy or Spain or Germany, these sort of places.
yeah,
So there may be certain things you could do with property pre 11 o'clock on New Year's Eve,
mhm,
um, and post could be quite different. So I think the devil's going to be in the detail in terms of what you can and can't do. But a lot of that information has not been released yet in terms of the particular bits of impact on foreign owning companies and asset owners.
right, okay. Yeah, so fine. I mean, that's obviously one thing we need to look into as well in more detail because there are still a lot of high net worth clients that we deal with who are looking to buy properties, but we need to find out obviously if it's going to affect them in any way, shape, or possible. What's the news on stamp duty as well? Is that now still in effect, or is it going to change now, Lucky?
Well, as far as I know, the stamp duties was meant to be a year's grace and stamp duty up till March, below 500,000.
Yeah,
But I believe that's still, I'm not sure whether there's any news to extend it or not. So I
yeah,
think there's going to be a major change if it doesn't get extended. You're going to find that there's going to be a lot of people struggling to sell their properties, or and if things don't quite go to plan with Brexit and the vaccine, you may also find that interest rates actually could start skyrocketing as well. There's a high risk of that.
yeah. Okay, so that's a possibility as well. But now, so we were just discussing off air beforehand about people looking to probably relocate out of the sort of city-based areas. So let's say, for example, London, you got city centre of Birmingham, Manchester, and just to go a bit more rural. Is that a possibility now? Do you reckon in this in 2021, people will be considering these sort of options?
Well, I think a lot of people that are stuck in a small apartment or a flat in central London or in Manchester somewhere, um, maybe would have found it easier to just go to their local park or do something before, but because of the lockdown now, they may not want to be mixing with other people. They might want their private garden. So
Mhm.
I think there will be a small trend. I don't know how large in terms of people who've got, let's just say, central London or central city type properties
Yeah.
who are quite well to do, wanting to maybe get an additional property outside while the COVID-19, the pandemic sort of simmers down.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. But obviously, then, like I said, if they don't act quick enough now, you're predicting probably interest rates to go up.
Yeah, I think interest rates are a high chance will go up because there's a lot of flux. And if I think if everybody does the numbers properly and they
Mm.
take into account slightly higher interest rates, they can't really go too wrong with their numbers because there'll be, they can make money all the way, especially if their borrowing rate is very cheap and they can sustain the level of cheap money they can get to buy.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But there is a lot of cheap money around,
Hmm.
equity money, not necessarily debt funding, where a lot of large hedge funds are coming in who are basically anticipating the market to tighten. So the next 3 months is going to be one of the most interesting quarters in the last 100 years, I'd say.
Okay. Brilliant. But obviously now, again, let's go back to, let's say, what we do and how we can help people. I mean, 2020 was, let's say, a bit, let's say, strange for us. Obviously, trying to grow the company, and now we kind of got used to, let's say, using different sort of systems and methods of working. 2021, what are we as an organization, or let's say, what is Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, looking to do now in 2021 to help your startup companies or startup, let's say, developers or property investors? You got your existing clients right now. How are we looking to, let's say, up our game and help them out?
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of money that's actually floating around, big money,
Mm-hmm.
they will only put their money on the strongest horses. So if you're quite an established developer, got great credentials, got good excellent personal guarantees, got tens and twenties of years of decades of experience,
Mm-hmm.
then the likelihood is that you're going to be the flavor of the month for them.
Right.
But if you're quite new or trying to do something innovative or haven't got much experience, anybody that's trying to borrow money less than 10 million, they're going to find it a struggle. So a lot of these larger organizations, they'll probably want to lend to larger organizations or individuals who've got a lot more experience underneath their belt.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to get to be it's going to be quite a small market with very few big fish,
Mm-hmm.
who basically will be able to get access to funding and to deals. But anybody that's a bit smaller and who's not known in the market, lenders are beginning to come out. This side of the month, but they're still the numbers will still be tight because the valuations are going to come in a bit lower. So the numbers are going to have to be excellent for anybody to be able to get money if it's a smaller deal below 10 million.
Yeah. Okay. But then, like again, like we said before, I think 2 weeks ago we mentioned about, let's say, the market sort of recorrecting itself. So we're not looking at this to happen anytime soon, are we? Then, in terms of, let's say, for example, housing markets, let's say go back to the mortgages just get back to normal again?
Well, I think the way to look at it is when we had the vaccines, when we didn't have the vaccine, but we had to do testing, you could sort of see really how the government was trying to do sort of test as many people as they could, but they weren't able to keep up with it. They weren't efficient enough to be able to test all the people around the UK. So if that's what we did when we were trying to fix the problem by testing, and now we've got a solution with the vaccine, I can't really see it being rolled out in the period of 3 months or 6 months. I think it's going to take a lot longer because of just the sheer volume and size of the people that they're going to have to deal with. And we're going to remember, it's not just one dose. I think after 2 weeks, you have to go back and get another dose. So it's a bit, and it's not like a straightforward process. And there are also limited vaccines. There isn't really enough for the whole of the UK population to go around today.
Okay. Have you had one?
Sorry?
Have you had yours?
No.
I thought, being a property fixer, you'll be the one fixing everyone first.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to let everybody else take it first. I'm think if you're quite fit and healthy, then it may not be a good necessity. I don't think I'll need it anyway. But yeah, we shall see.
Right. So, okay, going back to obviously the headline topic. So we touched upon, let's say, why 2021 would be the best reasons to buy property. But again, we mentioned again about locations, finances. What about legal aspects? I mean, are the legal terms going to be sort of changed now as well, or is it going to still be the same, or what's the new structures are we looking at?
Well, legally, I think we're going to have a lot of problems because to deal with councils and the land registry, surveyors, estate agents, everything is taking maybe 2 or 3 times longer than before. Be able to register charges, as you know. We've got tons of clients, but to try and get things maneuvered quickly is very difficult because I think the land registry and the councils who are struggling now with COVID-19 they've got very low resources and they can't necessarily keep up with the volume of work. So searches aren't really being done effectively and efficiently by councils as they may have been being done before.
Okay. So there are still setbacks in place, but hopefully if everyone else gets into, let's say, their own gear, own motion, we should be able to fix these issues.
That's right. Okay. It's all possible.
So anything's possible then, basically.
Yeah, I think the next 3 months, like I said, is probably going to be the most interesting time in terms of what's going to happen in the next since the last 100 years when we had the last pandemic. But I think was it 50 million people that died or something?
That's correct. Yeah, 50 million.
So how many have died in this one? Do you know so far?
Not
over 1 million, isn't it?
Is it nearly 1 million? I thought it was less than that. I don't know. I need to check it out.
Okay. Well, either way, I think the next 3 months, if interest rates do go up, I think anybody out there who wants to take advantage of the market should be really getting all their money ready to start buying. And the more money you've got, the more likely you're going to be making a lot of money because you've got to be able to leverage equity now, leverage much debt as possible. But if you can get to equity as well, then you're onto a winner. Isn't it?
But luckily, look, we were saying before, this market is going to crash. This market is going to crash. And I think back in obviously July, that didn't happen. Well, towards the end of this year, it didn't happen. We're talking about interest rates going up. So will the crash happen soon, in your opinion?
Well, I think in some ways, a crash is already happening because there's quite a few people. There's little like glitches of crashes all over the place, where a lot of individuals are suffering personal circumstances. So that because of their financial circumstances, individuals are having to give up their properties quickly or let go of them. And what they're probably finding is that the sales aren't happening quick enough. So they are now being strangled with their cash flow because COVID-19 slowing down the whole sale process. So if they're trying to release, $500,000 from a sale of an asset and it's not happening, they have to try and take out a bridge or private money to try and bridge the gap between them getting the sale and them, and in the interim they're struggling. So there's a huge amount of different dimensions that are occurring in the market. But because we deal with nearly every aspect from finance to stopping repossession to conveyancing work to sales or dealing with lots of buyers, we get to see all the dimensions all in one go, all in one place. And then we can sort of work out what's going to happen next.
Okay. No, fine. So look, from your opinion right now, 2021 is going to be a year, hopefully, to remember, and 2020 is one to forget and wipe off and start all over again.
Yeah, I think 2020's got a place in history. I suppose it's one of those things. I suppose it's a bit like being hit by an international tsunami, but on health. So, anything can really happen in life. You never know. So, yeah, I think moving on from 2020, I think a lot of people have to look at reinventing themselves. But just to go back to the key points now, the 5 key things are that there is an opportunity to buy, and getting your money ready now is important. And even though you can't see a massive crash in front of you, there are lots of glitches of small mini situations or people's individual situations where people need quick money. So the opportunities are going to be there throughout. And the market may not necessarily show that if the government's artificially pumping money into the UK economy. You could argue that if the government hadn't done what they did, then you probably would have had the biggest crash in property in 100 years. It's just with the money that they've pumped in, lots of free money being given out through bounce backs and Sybils and these type of grants, etc. I mean, if that wasn't there, I know tons and tons of people will literally be on their knees now.
Yeah, that's true as well. No, but Lakhi, again, thank you very much for your precious time. I know you've been very busy for the last few weeks as well, so I've heard. Guys, please also go to the Facebook page as well, the Alternative Business Property Solutions, and check out all our other sub sites as well, or sub groups. And again, please have a lovely, lovely new year. And Lakhi's giving a heart out to everyone else. Enjoy this 2021. Make sure you have a blessed year ahead. And yeah, we'll catch up soon with you guys next week. Lakhi, thank you very much. Have a lovely, next week, mate.
Okay, happy 2021, Adnan, and all the viewers. And if you have any questions, do pop any questions into the Alternative Property Business Solutions community on Facebook. We've got 9 groups around the country to help you and support you in whether you're in business, whether you want finance, whether you've got a legal issue, whether you want to sell a property quickly. Just do a quick plug for LPA Properties, Adnan, in terms of what people should be looking out for and how you can help them.
Well, I'm thinking right now, in terms of property-wise, if you have got a property you're looking to sell, just do get in touch with ourselves. We are obviously offering, let's say, clients a 0% obviously sales contract or agreement. And we've got buyers on our books right now, all vetted, all ready to go. So yeah, I mean, I think from that point of view, we're just now looking to take the next step now forward in this 2021, and hopefully have a very, very good 2021.
Excellent. Okay, well, everybody have a great 2021, and we'll catch up for the show similar time next week, Saturday and Sunday.
Take care, guys. Thank you very much for taking part, and thank you, Lucky, for your time, mate. Have a good one. Thank you.